this after the fact. It's probably just going to be me here, but this is a this is going to be a chiller fleet. It's me and two scepters, and we're gonna pick up positions in this system and this system, and we're just gonna chill there for an hour. Maybe we'll bounce between the neighboring systems. Who knows? But we're we're just gonna chill, and if we find a target, we're gonna go tackle it, and then that would count as success. If I had more people, we would try to actually kill it, but we don't. So this is just a sort of it's what is it? I mean, it's part teaching, it's part test, because at some point I'll have enough people that we can just start bringing out a tier 3 cruiser to go kill. So when that happens, like when we're catching targets frequently enough, we'll transform one of the interceptor pilots into a tier 3 cruiser killer pilot. But for now, it's just me and myself. So you gotta lead by example, I suppose. I once said that conquering the universe would be easy. And yeah, if we don't get enough people, then the lesson is I need to onboard more people. So then we'll try to do that. And if there's not enough people to onboard, well, we gotta advertise more. I'll do that. I believe in demand-led logistics. Yeah, which screen am I streaming? Yeah, the Singrana account. My primary screen. Usually this guy flies the Interceptor. The other guy flies the Tengu. I'm in the right pod, right? Alright, we are in the target system. And we're just gonna go to the ESS. Because here, nobody can warp on us. Reaver. Where could they be? So normally you would panic and try to land on these retrievers, but you really don't have to, because this is a cloaky camper kind of thing. So I could have warped on them, and I would have probably even gotten them, right? I mean, I've actually killed. I've been on this guy like twice. This guy is an easy easy guy to kill, actually. Suppose. Oh yeah, I suppose we could do log off traps too. We could log off for a bit. Yeah, it's this is one guy, same name, Kaleido something, right? So him and his 3 mining ships. Leaving. Last time he was not in the ice belt, and I suppose I should pick one at random. How do we do that? I could use the clock, I guess. I guess nobody else knows when I decide, right? So I can use the clock as a randomizer. So the thing is that if I have more people, right? I don't even need to cloak. Like they will know that my character is bad news, you know. But it won't matter because like they have like intel alarms probably, you know, at least like the bigger groups do, right? The idea is that I want to have enough enough tacklers or sinos or whatever. I want to have enough chillers that no alarm system is that useful against it because you know if they react to the alarm then they'll be reacting just all the time, right? I mean, if the alarm is constantly blaring, the alarm is not really giving a useful signal to them. So the concept is that we can we can just log off now and watch a match of StarCraft, you know, which we might do. Let's just do that. Um, oh yeah, I suppose there's no point in being in a fleet because if this was real, we would need to very quickly fleet up. I guess this is what this chat room is for. The SIG chat room will quickly fleet up. You can just log off. You can log off both characters now, and I am still doing what I want people. Check a little mining field first. Ah, nothing. Actually, let's we will log off in an asteroid field. There's no point not to, right? Because we might as well be somewhere. Hello. He fled his mining drones. uh, the offer I'm making is just pay me 1 million a week, 1 million a week to my organization, or per account, or alternatively 10 million for to insure the star system. That's the pricing I'm going with. It's a very, very good deal. This is not ISK efficient. This is not effort efficient ISK on my end. I'm doing this to see if it can be done. To see if it's possible to make money from PvP in Eve. That's why I started playing Eve. I never really found it, and now I am decently wealthy. I have $500 billion of net worth now, so I can afford to spend at least a billion a day on this kind of enterprise. So, so I do. I was gonna watch some StarCraft, didn't I? That's a long one.
Guys, Artosis here, bringing you some more amazing.
I wonder how the content detection is on Twitch these days. It's been so long. I feel like I could just get banned by watching this on stream now. I mean, it'll certainly mute the audio, right? You know, all the language model AI stuff, you know, all of that quote unquote AI stuff. It's not really AI, but all that machine learning stuff. Probably made content detection incredibly good now compared to what it used to be. I guess we'll try it. We'll see what happens to this one.
Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you some more amazing ladder replays from the top pro gamers. This one is going to be really fun. Up here at 12 o'clock, we have Soma. Many consider him to be the strategic leader of Zerg at the moment, meaning he's kind of like innovating more than other Zergs. Really on top of his game. I know he hasn't had the greatest ASL results lately, but honestly, there's a lot of volatility in that, so you shouldn't take that to mean too much. Definitely a very, very strong Zerg player and has been for the last few years. His opponent down here, someone that I think everyone is dying to see more games of. This is Fantasy. You know, Fantasy was the second best Terran in the world next to Flash at the end of the Kespa era, okay? And there's so many interesting things about Fantasy, right? He's part of the SK Telecom Terran Dynasty, right? It goes Boxer to I Love Uv to Fantasy, them all being kind of mentors going down in that line. Fantasy was starting to make all the Star League finals there towards the end of the Kespa era, but unfortunately, his run was cut short. We actually don't know how good Fantasy was going to become, but it does seem like he was going towards like a Bonjour-esque player. Right, a lot of people ask me, for instance, is Fantasy the second best Terran ever? And there's no easy answer to that, because like you look at what he did with his career, and it's just much below many other Terran players. But that's because it kind of ended too quickly. So, you know, Fantasy, he did go to StarCraft 2 for a while and was quite a strong player there. I liked StarCraft 2 a lot, and kind of quietly came back practicing on alternate IDs. And of course, you know, he did get invited to the Gamers 8 tournament in Saudi Arabia and ended up winning that, you know, beating extremely strong players on the way in Bisu and Jaedong in the finals. So, you know, he's in great shape. This is a ladder game from before the Gamers 8 tournament, just to throw that out there. He was playing really regularly, and then after Gamers 8, stopped playing because he was doing other things basically for the rest of the year. I don't think he's active right at this moment as I record this replay, but it seems with what he said that he'll be coming back maybe in 2024. So yeah, anyways, let's look at this game. Let's start analyzing what he's up to. It looks like here he is just doing a walled expansion. Obviously, that's something you definitely want to do against Zerg. Anytime that you can get a wall off, you're going to be pretty happy because then you don't have to make a bunker. Soma just going for a pretty standard 2 hatchery opener. And Fantasy scouting around. Now, you know, what are we expecting to see from Fantasy here? Well, he gets a very fast gas, so that's pointing towards maybe a very quick +1, or even, I mean, possibly a factory. Probably not, though, because that's going to be extremely late compared to the layer timing that he's very likely to be going up against. You see that was like a 304 layer, so that generally points us towards Soma making a third hatchery in his main base, maybe skipping Zergling's speed and going for a sunken base defense instead, and kind of just a higher economy 2 hatchery play. So we'll see if that's the way that Soma's going to end up playing it. His Overlord, of course, kind of peeking in, checking the health of everything. He knows that this is a 15 command center. And yeah, I guess we are going to see a very fast factory. So this is really interesting. It is something to mention that mech switches. Oh God, he throws down Academy. He throws down Academy with like 100 gas there. Okay, and he does throw down the factory as well. Where do you put the factory? There it is. Okay. Really interesting, Academy and factory at the same time. I've actually not seen this particular build order from Terran players. But anyways, you know, the mech switch, like from bio into mech, was basically invented by Fantasy. You know, and he's like someone who's refined a lot of that. He's probably one of the best mech players ever against Zerg. Is that what we're going to end up seeing? Hard to say. This, if I had to guess, is going to end up being a Valkyrie rush. I would be pretty surprised if it's anything else. You know, there are other builds that you can do in there, like one factory Goliath with bio, that type of thing. That's kind of like a cheesy build. We don't really see that too often right now. But yeah, we'll see here. He does have that Academy up, getting at least one comsat. He is going to have to add pretty soon an engineering bay as well to make sure he has those missile turrets ready for the Spire. Now, the 2 comsats are coming up, as well as the starport. And look at this. So there is the armory. And he's not getting anything other than comsats out of the Academy. This is actually pretty fascinating, because it's super rare to get your Academy and then just be like, no, I don't want stim. You know, instead, he's going ahead and gets a scan off there at the natural, his first scan. And I would imagine his second scan he will eventually spend in that main base to check the timings of what's going on. But yeah, makes a medic. Stim just now starting. The armory is over halfway done. More barracks coming up. So he is going to get into bio, but really kind of cut out everything to be able to get into Valkyrie as quickly as possible. Of course, what he's doing is balancing his gas very carefully so he doesn't have to get his second geyser. If you get a second geyser in a situation like this, you're just... Oh, that's a nice catch on the medic. Medics just walk off on their own all the time, guys. It's insane. But if you get your second geyser too quickly, you're not going to be able to afford getting the Valkyrie and the missile turrets and adding the barracks and all that, right? That uses up a ton of minerals to not only build it, but take 3 SCVs off of mining your minerals. So really interesting build order choice here from Fantasy. You can see that he's definitely playing it different from any other Pro Terran and getting those turrets right now. To go with the Valkyries. Only 2 barracks. That's kind of been figured out that if you're going to Valkyrie rush like this, it's very hard to fit that.
I like to theorycraft StarCraft.
Oh, I love to see it. That's going to be very exciting. Now, Soma over here is taking his 3rd hatchery. He has a few mutas out. In fact, he has gotten up to that very important 7 count that you need to one-shot SCVs.
Where is it?
Be able to get a little bit of damage done here. Don't forget, we don't have great upgrades on these Marines yet, right? They don't have like +1 on the way. They have stim, but they do not have marine range yet. So just something to note. The Valkyrie comes up and will get an attack off here. It's got to be careful not to lose it, though. Putting a lot of damage onto those mutas. He does fly the Valkyrie back and continually making Valks here. You know, I do wonder if we're going to see Fantasy, like, obviously he's on 2 barracks, but I think for sure now, because we haven't seen +1 started yet, this should turn into a mech build. I'm almost completely certain that this will be a mech switch here from Fantasy. He's just got like a middling group of Marines. He's only got the 2 barracks. Again, I don't think he made the range upgrade yet. See, he just started the range.
This is a pretty long StarCraft replay.
Anyways,
so
against like lurkers and mutas.
We're going to be waiting a while before we log into Eve again,
yeah,
but
he has those multiple
typical StarCraft replay is quite a bit shorter.
Adding quite a few Scourge.
But it's important to log in.
Upgrade, which is great against Valkyries, but when they get their own +1,
it's important to.
And look at that. Great catch here from Fantasy. Soma being pushed way
to log in randomly, you know. Sometimes you need to wait a long time to get a log off track to work.
Some of the best.
If you always just wait, if you always wait like 2 minutes or 4 minutes or whatever, people will learn it. So you need
Man, he is gonna catch them, but the Scourge come in. Maybe that was a trap.
You need something that
Valkyries, and in fact, he does
can't quite be figured out.
So all three of those Valkyries end up going down. Really great catch there by Soma. He does lose a lot of his own Mutalisks, so maybe didn't go quite as well as he had hoped, but at least he reduces that Valkyrie count. Now, a few more of the Mutas get killed off as the Marines retreating. Do see them fly a little bit too close. Soma maybe looking elsewhere during that time. Looking back at the main base here, that +1 for Valkyries still on the way, still producing Valkyries, making siege tanks, making siege mode. But realistically, do we have enough to push anything? I don't really think so, right? Like, these are Marines without any plus attack upgrades. You know, the mutas are going to have +1 armor, but obviously there's like no mutas around, so maybe that doesn't matter so much. But yeah, you don't have that very important +1 attack that we normally see on Marines by this point. Plenty of lurkers, plenty of sunkens. Only one sunken up this ramp. He might be able to break that if he really dived on it, but maybe doesn't realize that that's the case. Now, Ling's going for a counterattack here. If he can pick off a siege tank, that is a fantastic kill. Gets one, gonna go after a second one. This is a problem for Fantasy. You know, he has so few units. He's doing such a technical build that to lose 2 siege tanks after already losing 3 Valkyries, it really feels like Soma is dominating this game right now. Getting into that mineral line as well, getting into the mineral line up here. Will end up killing some SCVs, but it seems like this will get cleaned up without too much damage. Yeah, I mean, he lost maybe 6 SCVs, 7 SCVs total to that Zergling counterattack, but I think the bigger thing is losing those 2 siege tanks, right? Because this army is so small. It's, you know, he's been on 4 production structures for a really long time. And what's he got to show for it? It's like, okay, a very healthy Valkyrie count. He's got 3 Valkyries with +1. He's still making. Some siege tanks, well, only 1 right now. He would have 3, and 3 siege tanks will one-shot a lurker, right? So that is a very important amount of siege tanks. A lot of builds in the past have been based around 3 siege tanks. Now, Lurker is running around from Soma. It looks like he maybe wants to run up and like burrow in the reinforcement area because there's no science vessels. We don't have a science facility or anything like that, so he will get up here. In fact, this might even just be a counterattack as Fantasy is getting ready to do an attack of his own. So he runs up and burrows here. A bunker is on the way. Oh my God. Is going to get at least some Marines into there. And you know what? The siege tank is getting some decent hits. Oh, is he going to be able to kill that one? Okay, does kill that one. This one actually gets blocked, and he will be able to block it with that SCV. So that was really well done. And you know what? This Lurker burrows just out of turret range, it looks like, since he did go ahead and do a scan there. He'll clean that up. In the meantime, the Valkyries finding all of these Overlords in the top right. It looks like Soma will break through this army, so the push is going to be destroyed. But the 5+1 Valkyries absolutely murdering the supply here of Soma. Look at that. 63 of 28. This is almost feeling like Corsairs from Protoss. You know, that it kind of feels like that when you see a Terran player really focusing on Overlord kills. And that actually brings to mind, if you guys have been watching the channel, there's
I believe that Terrans should go should use rates more to kill when the Scourge chases away from its own overlords. You can use like 3 cloaked wraiths to one-shot them one by one while the Scourge are chasing around, I don't know, your Valkyries or your Science Vessels. I think that wraiths have a place against Zerg. In general, yeah, Terran should be doing this kind of air style.
Interesting. Protoss for
not that they need any major help against Zerg, because the usual Marine medic science vessel is pretty strong by itself. You just irradiate lurkers, and then if the Zerg decides to build Ultralisks, then you can start either add unsieged siege tanks, or you can add battle cruisers, proportional to the Ultralisk. Pretty simple actually, in my opinion.
Zerg that I just casted a few days ago.
So that's, that's already pretty strong, but I actually think this air stuff is even stronger.
And Corsairs and stuff. But this is kind of looking
theoretically
like that.
I've never seen it done though.
You can see how quickly he's
all on paper.
absolutely destroying all these overlords. Now there are some counterattacks coming in, and definitely he's taking some damage over there, right? Like he's lost so many siege tanks at this point. More factories are coming up. He does have that +1 siege tank attack vulture speed on the way as well. So he's staying alive and continues to do supply blocks. He wants to be careful here. Another pick off. The Scourge are actually doing really well at reducing. You know, he lost.
I don't think Valkyries by themselves are very good though. Right? Except as a defensive tool over your Marines. You basically, the Marines can kill the Scourge while your Valkyries are kiting away. The Wraiths is like a Marine you can bring with you.
The Overlord so quickly. And something to mention is, how would you deal with like mass Corsairs later on, right? It's like, well, you use Scourge early, but eventually you go into like Hydras, right? You can't really go Hydras against someone that's going siege tanks. It just, it doesn't sound very smart. So he is actually starting to get those Hydralisks, and in fact, Hydralisk range. So I think he's come to that conclusion that like, well, damn, I just need to stop all this stuff from dying. But because Fantasy is going into a mech switch, I feel like in a lot of ways that pre-counters what you're countering Valkyries with. Now, all that being said, while I've been trying to discuss this, all the Valkyries did get picked off. But consistently making Valkyries here out of that starport. Very interesting play here from Fantasy. Now, one thing I do need to mention as well, I'm sure there's at least a few super hardcore StarCraft 1 enjoyers watching this. This is not just a fantasy thing. This is something Light has been toying with as well in the past year, right? Like he's actually been toying with some of these +1 Valkyrie, nonstop Valkyrie production, getting into mech, that type of thing. So this is definitely not just fantasy, but fantasy definitely bringing his own twists to a build like this. Definitely has executed in a completely different way than the games that I've seen Light do builds that have a similar idea behind them. Now, a lot of Mutalisks have been fielded. So I think what we see here is he knows that it's a mech switch, and he's decided, you know what, we'll use these mutas. This is kind of sloppy, but yeah, he has the upgrades and the Marines do not. So I guess he can do this. Little bit cost inefficient there. But that's most of the anti-air. I think with the amount of Valkyries that Soma has killed off so far this game, he's looking at this and saying, you know what? The mutas can go kill some siege tanks, some vultures, things like that. There's not going to be many Valks. But honestly, there's like a few Goliaths being made, and he is still remaking Valkyries. There's 3 Valkyries in here. So obviously 3 Valkyries can just murder this army. He is trying to take out those Scourge first. Okay, does get rid of them without taking any hits. Very, very important. And now we'll be able to force those Mutalisks back. The Mutalisk's just going to run away and go home. A lot of mines being laid out. Siege tanks being spread. Another cool thing about what we're watching here with the Valkyries is, right, one of the big counters to mech is Queens, right? You go Queens and you use Broodling on the siege tanks. But if you have enough Valkyries, I think you can basically zone out the Queens from really hitting those. In fact, we don't see Broodling even being started or Queen Energy being started. So I think Soma's decided, you know what, we have to go about this in a different way. There's too many Valks out there. One thing to mention is he is getting +2 flyer carapace, which will start to make the mutas beat the Valkyries a little bit better. Not necessarily counter them, but buy enough time maybe for his Scourge to come in and flank. And of course, if you run out of Valkyries, the ground army is going to have a very hard time. There are some Goliaths that are being mixed in. In fact, more and more Goliaths are being produced right now. I think he realizes that this is kind of the idea that Soma's going with here. A little bit of vulture harassment going up, kills the drones over at that mineral base. Not the end of the world for Soma, but does want to think about getting more bases up here, more economy up here as well. Very fortified base here for Fantasy. Has his science facility finally, a very late science facility. Looks like he wants to go for +2 attack. You know, you definitely do want to continue those mech upgrades forward. They're some of the best upgrades in the game, +5 every time you upgrade the siege tank for siege mode. Now, a little group of Hydras coming over here trying to stop the 4th base for Fantasy. Comes up with his mech army, and of course, we'll be able to punish this small group of Hydras. You know, someone's going to try to get out of here, doesn't want to just throw these all away for free. They don't really have any chance fighting against such a mech army. And look at this. The Muta's flying in and brings the Scourge for a flank here. And actually gets a couple. He does some damage there, and in fact takes a lot of damage on his Mutas as well, but retains a lot of these Valkyries. Now, Queens are being added in. So Soma at this point has decided, you know what, Queens are going to be needed to take out the siege tanks. And then, you know what, they're going to get the +2 fire carapace. Don't forget that they get those upgrades. So that will give them a little bit more stability to try to...
Oh yeah, I guess what I said earlier about adding the unsieged siege tank, I guess Queens is the reason you prefer the battle cruiser.
It's going to be hard to get on top of it. You know, he does have this 4th Valkyrie here to join the
instant kill ability.
But now it looks like it's a switch into Science Vessel.
Doesn't work on the flying unit
as well. I've even seen a little bit of EMP used against clumped up Queens. I'm not sure that he knows about the Queens as of yet, though. That, you know, they just hatched. I haven't heard a scan. Haven't seen him scout this area as of yet since the map control still definitely goes to Soma here. A lot of mines around to trying to slow him down a bit. Ooh, very good mine hits. Muta's just clearing everything out for his Hydralisk army. Another base being taken. Getting that Nidus up immediately. A lot of drones being transferred down. You know, there's still a fair amount of vultures, so there could be a run by, right? If he happens to send all of his vultures down to a base like this, that is really going to hiccup the economy here of Soma. But Soma right now, like 62 drones against 52 SCVs is a pretty darn big deal. He has surpassed Fantasy in supply. Really kind of a wild game, because the thing is, you know, we talk a lot about how Zerg is so supply efficient that as soon as you see them up to about equal supply to their opponent, they're ahead, right? And that, I would still pretty much go with that here, but one thing to mention is that siege tanks can be so efficient, right? And as far as the air army goes, it's like, okay, well, you have all these Mutas, but like, Irradiate plus Valkyrie does destroy these. Oh my god, they actually have +3 carapace. That's crazy. I actually didn't even notice that. But that makes the Valkyries much, much weaker against them. But yeah, you know, the supply differential here, it's more playable with mech than it would be with bio. If you're playing bio and the supplies are looking like this, you're very close to death. Here with mech, it's like, okay, well, if you can keep the siege tanks alive, they'll murder Zerg units forever. That's why Queens are so important. In fact, you can see he's getting the Queen energy upgrade right now. Queens are incredibly important because, like, you know, if let's say that you have 20 siege tanks in siege mode with like +2 or +3 attack, how many Hydras does it take to kill that? Well, the answer is almost infinity. Like, they just kill them so quickly. Like, it's crazy. Now, Soma is loading up for a big drop.
I'm flipping a coin every 10 minutes. On top of
this is pretty deadly. There's like no defense in the main.
We'll log in when we
possibly be a game
when the coin lands on tails.
This is gonna kill a lot of supply depots. In fact, Fantasy already a little bit supply blocked. Both of them supply blocked. In fact, the Mutas fly in to take those turret hits, and out come all those Hydras. Now, here comes the army from Fantasy. He's bringing back his Radiates with those Science Vessels, setting up. Would love to see a defense matrix there. Doesn't quite get one off. He did have enough energy. A little bit unfortunate. That could have been great, just like defending a recall. And here come the Queens. Oh my god, some huge broodlings come out here. And you know what? That was actually held a lot better than I thought it would. Be. Like, I guess it's not actually technically over yet, so we should see if he does get a bit more damage. Has a little group down here, but it feels like it's mostly held at this point. The Queens got a few siege tanks. A lot of them did end up dying. A lot more Queens on the way right now, but the rest of the units will be killed off. He did lose a few depots in here, so that's definitely something he's going to want to remake, maybe up in this area. You know, this is very droppable down here, so not sure if he wants to continue building in that zone. But right now, Soma coming over, he's clearing some of the mines. I think he feels like he's about to win this game, and I have to say, I think so too. Oops. Yeah, he's having a hard time casting that one. Does get the Broodling off, though. Fantasy still has a very healthy siege tank count, but he would need to go do something pretty quickly here, because it feels like he's no longer got the production he used to have. He's, you know, his supply has dropped dramatically in comparison to Soma's supply. So I guess at this point, it's like, okay, maybe if we take this map and split, and you deny Zerg here, you deny Zerg here, right? Zoom out, so you kind of split there, and that would also deny this space. So if Fantasy can maybe hold the center, something like that, he either has to basically go kill him right away or do something like that, where he's securing himself 3-4 more bases and just grinding him down over time. But we'll see which way he goes. There are some more Broodlings trying to come out right now. More Queens have been hatched as well from Soma. Huge amount of siege tanks coming into the map. 2-2 upgrades as well. Very, very good upgrades. 3-3 is on the way here for Fantasy as well. And, you know, the ground army is not that good from Soma. He's got a great economy, as you can see. He's got a great amount of supply, but honestly, he's becoming extremely supply blocked. A lot of his overlords being caught out on the map. Also, some of the terrain here, like if you siege some tanks here, nothing can reinforce through there. And obviously, you have all these mines already. I would love to see just like 3 tanks siege in this general area to block this type of move. Okay, he does start siege as the Hydras come in, and he should be pretty darn cost efficient there. What else is going on? Okay, we have these overlords. They're actually empty. He's sending some Hydras up to block this command center. Hydra's going to the center to clear some of the mines as Fantasy moves down with his extremely strong mech army right now. But we have 4 Queens waiting over here. We have a bunch of Queens waiting here as well. So, right, that's 10 Queens that we have on the map ready to try to cast Broodlings onto Fantasy's army. Oh, even 3 more. Okay, so 13. So he might be able to take out 13 siege tanks. Okay, 1 gets taken out there. But if you're taking him out at that slow of a speed, like, he's going to start killing everything. This base already not really mining. Okay, here come those flanking Queens right now. Gonna get in on top of these. Oh my God, beautiful cloning there. And gets quite a few of them indeed. The army of Fantasy shrinking in size. Don't forget, there's actually like a 20 worker differential. So this is actually like, for army purposes, think of it as 155 against, you know, 175. Which isn't as bad as what it looks like right now. And don't forget that a decent amount of the supply is Queens that have utilized their spell already. So, you know, that's one of the things. It's like, yeah, very cost efficient, but the supply can start to lie to you in a mech game against Zerg. Definitely one where you have to kind of think more of what's going on, what they both have available at the moment. And looks like some more Broodlings go out. Only 3 tanks left with this army. Very Vulture, very Goliath heavy. Groups of Hydras and, well, Queens up there, but they don't really have the energy for anything. But this group of Hydras, it looks like they were trying to stop reinforcements. But this is actually a beautiful move to come up and flank this army. But more Broodlings come out. And with more Hydras coming down, he's going to be able to kill off this army. Oh, Fantasy just so low on gas at this point. He's kind of mining out his gases. Having a hard time getting another base up as well. Kind of a crazy and very cool mech game. But yeah, it looks like that's not going to work out for Fantasy this game. Soma takes down Fantasy. GG.
Let's see if we can take something down. I'm just gonna log in 1 character. See if we get something. Nothing there. Let's check the other guy. Nah, no luck.
Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you some more casts of... Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you some more casts of Pro Ladder games. This is going to be a game between Fantasy over here in the top left and Saxry in the top right. So yeah, this should be a fun one. You know, if you checked out the video from yesterday, as of, well, when this recorded, obviously I don't know which day you're watching this on, but the previous video that I released from this one was a Fantasy Terran vs. Zerg, and those are always very fun because Fantasy has a very different style against Zerg in general. Really does like to go for like mech plays. Here going up against Saxry. Saxry is an extremely strong Zerg player. You know, he is really deadly, very, very underrated. I think in most fans' eyes, all the pros know that he is like a very good, strong, solid.
Actually, I'm gonna
Zerg, right? This is someone that I actually, if he doesn't,
I'm gonna log in. Actually,
on a given season,
I'm just
like,
gonna stay on the SS.
You know, it's not someone that I expect to see in the top 8, but it's like there are not 24 players in the world.
I like them to get used
so
to.
Maybe that's a good way to put it. Maybe that's
used to my presence.
He's definitely top 24. Anyways, we're on Nemesis, and this is a map that, you know, when I saw it's on Nemesis, it's like, well, damn, that's a great map for Fantasy to do some different things on. Maybe go for mech on this map. Definitely seems like it's a good map for moves like that. It's a low economy 4-player map. So, you know, there's also like very short distances for rushing, and like the terrain can get complicated in certain areas, but, you know, mass siege tanks can, you know, fix a lot of the things that can go wrong on a map like this for Terran. So we'll see if he goes for that. I think that, in fact, this map might just be a little bit Terran favored against Zerg in general. You know, as I think it's a little bit hard for Zerg to keep the gas and come going forever, basically. Anyways, thank you for watching Artosis Casts. Hope that you're enjoying the channel and the videos. A big thanks to everyone who's been commenting and leaving likes on the videos and all that. The channel's been growing a lot recently, and I do appreciate you all for that. Definitely, it's one of the big goals of mine is to just make this like a really big channel that everyone can always watch Brood War Pro games on for the rest of time. This game really should never go away. So big thanks, guys. Very much appreciated, and I will continue to try to put out the best quality games that I can find from the pro gamers. It seems like right now there's
the regen speeds.
Great games out there for sure. Okay, let's take a look at what's going on here. On Saxry's side, you know, there is his, you know, finishing of the natural hatchery right into that 2 hatchery layer play. So it's probably just going to be a very fast spire. Over on Fantasy side, it's just a barracks expansion. Looks like he's decided to
okay, so it's exactly double whatever it is for energy.
Once you take down this assimilator, that will prevent any lurkers from coming through here, right? If you kill the eggs, you're still able to get bio through. You're still able to get Zerglings through. You're still able to get Hydralisks through. But no lurkers, right? And that is something that happens on this map sometimes, is you'll do like a lurker rush and just kill the eggs and just run into the main base and Terran dies. So I'm not judging him going very quickly to kill this assimilator, deciding, you know what, let's just play safely here. He is going to try to go after the second one. You do have to be careful, because once you lose this, if they happen to send their Zerglings across the map, the front is a little bit scantily defended, as 3 Marines are back here killing the assimilator. Academy is on the way, additional barracks as well. And we'll see how many racks that Fantasy wants to go up to. Does he want to get an engineering bay for +1 attack, or just for missile turrets, right? Like, I would imagine in a game like this where he's opening with 2 barracks and it's not a super fast factory, we're going to have to see that +1. So his Marines maintain some value into the mid game, right? Because if you don't get +1 on Marines, they're actually pretty weak. Like, you really do need that against Zerg. And yeah,
Ben Franklin, motherfucker, that
right
key
now
got
he's
you.
gonna be going for a mech switch. That's something that we have to wait
Let's see him
to
get
see
you.
what he does. Like, do you go 2 starport? Do you go 1 starport? That type of thing.
I vote.
Anyways,
since he knows of them.
Out here,
It's
unable to do
look,
any
Uzi's
sort of
probably good with
damage.
the
He's
knowledge,
actually
but
taking
it
this
seems
as
like
his third
Liquid
base.
Bob
To
knows
mention, only
people. Okay,
3,000 gas.
I vote
in
Liquid
this
Bob
geyser. Of course, the mineral package is a bit lower.
advises
Zerg doesn't care
in
about
situations
that so
like
much,
that.
but very much of this matchup is based upon the geysers, and so this is
Because he
why,
even knew the
these
guy.
bases are like free.
I said,
for
this
Zerg.
guy is good.
Obviously, you know, if you kill off the two assimilators, it's like, yeah, well, you can't even attack me. Maybe a drop.
He said,
But
you just got hit by a
really
SEMA
well.
shitpost.
But
And
the
I was
thing is,
like,
they
yeah,
run out,
dude, this guy
right?
is
So
good.
that's where the map can get a little tough for Zerg. If you're really playing a grindy game against them with like irradiates and marine rotations.
Yeah, this
But you gained a lot of respect. You gained a lot of respect as a businessman because your perception of the threat was very real, and you were like,
it's like this thing that you do.
Got all the shit done.
That type of thing. But he kills them in plenty of time, gets his +1 started, gets the range started.
So it was
and
a
he'll be
smart
throwing
move.
down some missile turrets very, very, very soon here. This group of Marines with a couple fire bats going to start moving forward. SCV going out as well, maybe to...
Yeah, it's of course totally guerrilla advertising.
Only 2 barracks into missile turrets. That's kind
Oh,
of
I'm saying also just
much more common to see
you know,
3
even
barracks
if like
or
other people are
4
like, man, why would you pull
can
out for that? Like even
absolutely
Uzi
do
was
the
like,
2
man,
barracks
you
fight,
didn't do
just you have to
shit
be
wrong,
very
and
careful
he's
with
kind of
this
right.
out there.
But you
So
perceived
he
a
ends
threat
up
to be
losing
there,
his first
and you
group to
you
Saxony.
protected, you
It's
insulated
going to
yourself
become
and
increasingly hard
investors.
for him to put any pressure on in this game.
That's good shit, dude.
2 barracks just will not replace an army. It takes so long that the whole
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's why I did it.
secondary army that
And that's the only people that would be upset, like, are fucking lunatics, man, that aren't afraid to lose all their money.
Away from his base, he's picking off what he can. Saxory's being very careful, but he knows that this army is going to die. He knows he's going to get the kill on it. So you don't have to go too.
So I didn't know who SEMA was, but I knew who CM Swift is.
Medic energy with the overstimming and all that.
And like the way it was written was like, okay, this is like 90% troll, but there's like this tiny chance there's a tiny chance that there's a tiny chance that what this is not just like a funny troll, but it's like a I know you're gonna get banned, so I'm gloating. Like that was the threat basically. I was just like, is he gloating? Does he know something? Does he know something I don't? You know what I mean?
Nah, CM Swift will probably be like, he'll read his stuff out, but he'll be like, shut up, bitch.
Still no additional geyser here.
Nah, more likely, he'll be like, what do you want me to do about it?
Hard to say.
Like,
there is +1
if you say some dumb, if you come to CM Swift with some good shit, he'll be like, okay.
You know, even if there are Valkyries coming out, he's actually going to be very, very
he'd be like, it's
continuing that harassment. The Marines going
pretty
to
retarded,
run
not gonna lie,
behind to try to push them away.
There's a lot of weird people in high sec and low sec, though, I'll tell you that, man.
We don't see the armor yet. He has to start their armory like right now, if he wants to go for that, or the second gas should have been started probably a little.
I'm talking
bit
like
ago. It's gonna be
unhinged
hard
people,
for
man.
the support 2 starport science vessels and get irradiate and get +2 attack. Probably going to have to go into +1 armor here for the Marines. I think he's just going to be a little bit behind as far as...
Because, like, I don't know, like, I don't know what the moderation in EVE is like. I don't know what's actually illegal and what's actually not, right?
Getting some significant damage. Look at this. 32 SCVs only.
Right now, I would say you're pretty safe.
You're mid-40s on your SCVs. You know,
I'm pretty sure, like, you would get, like, the soft ban on your... Like, your email... capabilities, your email capabilities.
As you get your tech going. So he's got slightly below that.
Like we went over this. You read and you even like you're fine. Even sending email spam is like you might get limited on your email for like a period of time.
This is a cute.
But they're not gonna outright ban you for that. If you went to any of like their official channels and you started spamming stuff, then you would get like really banned. They'd be like, all right, dude.
In a moment.
All right, amigo, you want to fuck around? You're about to find out.
Yeah, the only thing I know about is you're not allowed to mail people who are in rookie help, and there's always a chance that happens, right? That somebody who is in rookie help also gets on solo kills, I guess.
Really changing the state of this game.
I don't think the chance is very high.
Very much so led by Saxony.
Solo kill is a pretty high bar.
Well,
there's lots of EVE players that have 0 solo kills.
Where's Amuda? Like, I don't think he's even making any additional ones, so he's just not going to be mining from there for a little bit.
So
really annoying.
Right now I'm just.
Tima is like one of those unhinged guys. It's like
grass over here. The worker
There are
count
also like
getting
a lot of
little
people
bit
that
closer, but
PvP only in
Saxry
high
has
sec, and they're
remade a
like
little bit.
anti-Care Bear,
Man,
but they only
Saxry's
PvP in high
Mules
sec, so they're
harassment
just massive fucking
absolutely
weirdos.
cemented
Like
here.
that, I don't know.
Now,
It's like there
double
are a lot of
drop
unhinged people
coming out
there.
of Fantasy. Not what I expected to see. The double dropship play, this is desperation at its finest. This is Fantasy saying, wow, I'm kind of dead here.
I'm
watching StarCraft on stream, and I'm also just sitting in two systems with my interceptors, and then every time the match ends, or so every 10 minutes I flip a coin, and if it lands one side, I go active, and in the game I try to like tackle something, and every time the StarCraft match ends, I go active as well.
Dude, you're like that Batman villain, dude. You're like fucking Harvey Dent, dude. You're Two-Face. I gotta flip a coin on it.
Okay, well, if you get the drop in the right place, you might actually.
Like I just,
No one's touching my spaghetti.
I just don't want anybody to learn my rhythm. You know, I don't want them to be like, okay, I can mine for 9 minutes 30 seconds safely after he shows up. You know what I mean?
They can give you that huge return, but it's irregular.
Dude, Eris stream. Eris sometimes streams ESL games, like shitty $15 like Russian-made games, and he's like super well known for like breaking the fuck out of the game or finishing it when it's like so buggy that it's impossible to finish, but he still finishes it. And he was playing Ebola Outbreak 2. And it's like a Resident Evil ripoff. And he's like, okay, I don't know where to go. And some guy said, hey, there, the cage door, there's a bar between its bars. And he said, someone get that guy. His English sounds familiar. He probably has something to do with the game. Someone get that guy.
Another drop into that top mid.
He's like, that English sounds familiar. Where do I go? Like he's forcing the dev to tell him, where the fuck do I go?
Something like that. Yeah, the Marines walking forward with that dropship. They see the Scourge.
I don't know. Just like those games are hilarious, dude, because some of the translations are godlike.
Trying to bait the Scourge in. I love it. I love it. But he does know that the mutas should be on their way back, and the mutas will easily deal with such a small group.
A difficulty preferred by people who are more or less good at the survival horror genre. More or less.
Not a ton of defense here for Saxry. Realistically, this could actually break that very, very quickly.
That shit's hilarious.
Mutas aren't around. Kind of an interesting.
If I can recommend one VOD, and you don't have to watch it now, you can watch it like way later. His first playthrough of Crying Is Not Enough is the most. It is the most hilarious playthrough of any game I've ever seen. Just because he breaks the game so bad, and he still beats it. It's like Resident Evil. He picks up a journal and he's like, oh, what the fuck? There's another. Dude, free journals? And he keeps picking them up. And then his inventory's bugged because he has fucking 50 journals. And he's like, oh, can't pick up anything. But he still manages to beat it, dude. It's like so many bugs happen, like game-breaking bugs, and he fucking MacGyvers his way out of that shit. It's perfect, dude.
So you can't irradiate. In fact, that one I think is slightly off. I think actually you could probably irradiate. Yeah, see, he's moving it.
And he does the contrarian thing like me.
We'll see about that. But yeah, definitely he's setting up these very strong defenses. Plague on the way already for his Defilers. So we should see Defilers popping out. Yeah,
Except
there they are
really
with their
good
consumes on these Zerglings. And he's going to be going for Plagues as opposed to Darkstorms. He doesn't need the Darkstorms right this moment. If a bust occurs, he can throw a Darkstorm, but I think this is more about hitting with the Plagues. Now notice the two
Alright, that is 1 hour. Let's check Eve. I don't think there's anything here.
Not a blueprint. And it ends pretty soon. I think downtime tomorrow. I was busy for 2 days.
Can you not talk over me?
Sorry.
So yeah. Right, we did 1 hour of chilling. It was very chill because we watched StarCraft the whole time. But yeah, we never found anybody except for when I showed up initially. If I wanted to, I could have had the kaleidoscope guy or whatever, Kaleido or whatever the fuck his name is. A guy I've gotten twice before. I could have rushed him, but I deliberately didn't because this was a test of the chiller protocol. Okay. So with 2 accounts chilling, we didn't get anything to kill. You know, sample size of one attempt. You know, but we'll do this again. But for right now, the lesson is get more accounts, get more people. And to do that, I'm gonna onboard more people. So
Did you see me kill that true Sancha super carrier? We got
no, I
shit
didn't see
loot. Dude, it blows up like an Ansiblex, man. It turns like
it has an
dead and then it's
animation,
smoldering and yeah, it's like smoldering and then like you see like a trail go through it. Like it's like imploding. Like you see the explosion inside and then it like a huge explosion. It's like a minute after you kill it. And it was the best spawn you can get. It's not just a Sancha super carrier. It's a true Sancha super carrier. And Paulo was helping, and I worked to a beacon, and he was like, "You fucking idiot," and his Brazilian accent, "Oh, you fucking idiot." Like he finally came out of his shell. He was like, "Oh, you fucking idiot! Align." Yeah, if you don't, if you warp to a beacon, you might be fucked. I'm not gonna lie. It takes forever to align, dude, in any capital ship. Like 45 seconds. So you want to warp to the actual like Sino. You don't want to warp to a beacon that's in the space. Unless you know people are gonna guard you. But yeah, dude, it was actually like Herod said, it was actually like not that hard. Like I had someone else come with their dreadnought, and we way out DPS'd it, but you do need like to do it solo, you need like 10k DPS. So you use torps. Or you could use like my DPS is enough to kill it. It's just that I would have to change the fit to like another shield extender because they use like the missile range script and the like they don't use you know, usually you run like 3 hardeners and then 3 extenders or 2 extenders and a booster. And they don't do that. Because it's like for sieging keep stars and shit. The LR is. But that shit was crazy, man. We got not good loot though. Apparently the best loot you can get is like 5 billion. The capital battery is the we got like a giga pulse laser, true Sancha capital giga pulse laser, and I gave it to Professor because it was I said I'd give him 50% if he got it together, like to where I could get something for the kill, and then he did all of it. So I was like, you just take if you can get like 400 mil for it, congratulations. Because he did do a lot to try and get it to happen. So yeah, also with capital ships, Paulo knows what he's doing. Like, really knows what he's doing. I was nervous, man, but he was like, "Okay, calm down." Like, he's like, "Nothing's fucking happening, man. Chill the fuck out." Because he uses like multiple, he has like Rorts and all that shit, and he uses them like all the time. So he's like, "Dude, chill out."